The frozen cliffs loomed tall and silent, their icy surfaces reflecting the pale light of distant stars. Inside the outpost, Captain Elias Kane moved quickly between the control room and the observation deck, checking sensor readings and coordinating the crew. Alia stood beside him, her energy pulsing softly, a steady warmth that mingled with the machines. "Readings are spiking again," Dr. Jensen said, frowning. "The ice beneath the northern ridge is shifting faster than before. If we don't act, it could trigger another collapse larger than anything we've seen." Elias nodded. "We've faced storms, ice quakes, and crevices before. We can handle this. But we need to work together, humans and Alia. No mistakes." Alia stepped forward, her alien hands glowing faintly as she focused on the energy beneath the cliffs. She pointed to specific areas on the sensors, showing Elias where the ice was weakest. The humans adjusted the devices she guided them to, reinforcing the outpost and stabilizing the ice. Suddenly, a deep rumble shook the outpost. The walls vibrated, lights flickered, and snow poured against the reinforced shields outside. A massive section of ice from the cliffs began sliding toward the outpost, faster than anyone expected. "Brace yourselves," Elias shouted. "Activate all stabilizers. Focus energy on the northern ridge. Alia, we need you now." Alia's energy flared brightly, illuminating the control room. It merged with the machines, sending warmth and stability through the ice. Sparks flew as drones hovered above, scanning the shifting surface. Engineers worked furiously, adjusting alien devices, while medics ensured everyone stayed safe. The ice moved slowly but steadily, threatening to break through. Elias saw a weak point forming near the base of the ridge. Without hesitation, he grabbed a control panel and manually redirected energy to reinforce the area. The combined effort of human skill and Alia's guidance began to slow the movement. "Keep going," Elias shouted. "We're almost there." Minutes felt like hours, but gradually, the massive ice slab stabilized. The tremors lessened, and the outpost held firm. The crew exhaled in relief, but Elias knew this was only the first step. The planet was alive with hidden energy, and there were more challenges ahead. After the immediate danger passed, Elias approached Alia. She was exhausted, her energy dimming but steady. "You did it," he said softly. "We did it together." Alia looked at him, her eyes shining with gratitude. She whispered a word clearly, "Human." It was simple, but full of meaning, a recognition of trust, warmth, and partnership. The next day, the crew decided to explore further into the frozen cliffs. Alia guided them carefully, pointing out hidden crevices, energy currents, and weak ice. They discovered more alien devices, buried beneath the snow for centuries. These machines had the power to stabilize entire sections of the planet's ice, but activating them required careful coordination. Elias led the team with calm authority. "Remember, every step matters. Alia, guide us. Engineers, prepare the devices. Medics, watch for signs of fatigue. Together, we'll make it work." Alia focused, her energy flowing into the devices as the humans adjusted them. Sparks and gentle hums filled the air as the machines came alive, responding to her guidance. Slowly, large sections of ice began to stabilize, cracks closing, tremors easing. "Look at that," Dr. Jensen exclaimed. "It's incredible. Human technology combined with Alia's energy. It's working perfectly." Elias smiled. "This is what humans do best. We adapt, we learn, we work together. And sometimes we discover things we could never imagine." But the planet had one final test. Deep beneath the cliffs, a hidden energy core began to pulse violently. Sensors picked up massive energy waves radiating outward. The ground trembled, and snow cascaded down from the cliffs. The crew realized that this energy core could either stabilize the entire region or cause a catastrophic collapse. "We need to control it," Elias said. "Alia, can you help us?" Alia nodded, her hands glowing with concentrated energy. "Yes," she whispered, her voice weak but determined. The humans and Alia worked quickly. Engineers adjusted the alien devices to channel energy from the core safely. Drones hovered above, monitoring ice movements, while medics ensured everyone stayed alert and safe. Alia's energy pulsed rhythmically, merging with the machines and flowing into the ice. Elias watched closely, directing the team, keeping calm even as tremors shook the outpost. Focus. Together, we can do this. Gradually, the energy core stabilized, its pulses steady and safe. The ice beneath the cliffs calmed, crevices sealed, and the northern ridge became firm. The outpost was secure, and the hidden power of the planet was now under control. The crew cheered quietly, relieved but aware of the effort it had taken. Alia sank to the floor, exhausted, and Elias knelt beside her. "You did it," he said. "We did it together. You trusted us, and we trusted you." Alia's eyes shone with emotion. She reached out and touched Elias' hand lightly. It was a gesture of trust, friendship, and warmth, the same warmth she had asked for when she collapsed in the snow. That evening, as the storm outside had fully passed, the team gathered in the observation room. Snowflakes drifted gently against the glass, and the frozen cliffs glimmered in the soft starlight. Elias looked at Alia, who smiled faintly but warmly. "Warm me," she whispered, the words now carrying a new meaning. Not a plea for survival, but a celebration of connection, trust, and shared triumph. Elias smiled back. "You already are," he said. "Warmth comes from more than heat. It comes from courage, care, and friendship. That's what humans do best." In the following days, the crew continued to explore the planet, activating more alien devices, mapping energy networks, and learning about the planet's ancient history. Alia taught them how to harness her energy safely, while humans taught her new ways to interact with technology. Together, they uncovered secrets buried for centuries, discovering that the planet's ice had been carefully managed by her people long ago. Each discovery strengthened the bond between humans and Alia. They learned from each other, laughed together, and faced challenges as a team. The outpost became a hub of knowledge, a testament to human ingenuity and empathy, and a beacon of hope in a frozen, unforgiving world. One evening, Elias and Alia stood together, looking out at the shimmering cliffs. "We've accomplished so much," Elias said, "but there's more to learn, more challenges to face, and we'll face them together." Alia nodded, her eyes reflecting the snow and stars. She placed her hand on his, a silent promise that she would remain by their side. The bond between human and alien was strong, built on trust, courage, and warmth. The planet was still cold, still dangerous, but humanity had proven its strength, not through force alone, but through intelligence, compassion, and the ability to work together. Even in the harshest conditions, humans had the power to bring warmth, hope, and life. And Alia, once a stranger who had collapsed in the snow, had found not only survival but friendship, trust, and warmth in the hearts of humans. She had become a symbol of the incredible potential of collaboration between species, proof that even the coldest worlds could be faced when courage, care, and intelligence guided the way. As night fell over the frozen cliffs, the outpost glowed softly, a beacon of human perseverance. The storm had ended, the ice had been tamed, and the crew had faced the ultimate challenge. But the adventure was far from over. Elias looked around at his team, then at Alia. "We've shown what humans can do," he said. "We've survived, we've adapted, and we've protected. But this is just the beginning. The universe is full of challenges, and wherever we go, we'll face them with courage, with intelligence, and with warmth." Alia smiled, her energy mingling with the machines, a gentle glow spreading warmth through the observation room. She whispered once more, softly but clearly, "Warm." Human, this time, it was not a plea. It was a promise, a bond, and a celebration. Humanity had brought warmth to a frozen world, and in return, the world and its alien inhabitant had shown them the power of trust, knowledge, and friendship. The frozen cliffs stood silent under the stars. But inside the outpost, life, warmth, and hope thrived. Humanity had triumphed not through violence, not through fear, but through the strength of heart, mind, and the will to act together. And as the snow drifted softly against the windows, Elias knew one truth: in the coldest, most dangerous places, humans had the power to survive, to protect, and to bring warmth not just to themselves, but to the galaxy. Together, humans and Alia would explore new horizons, face new challenges, and prove that no matter how frozen or harsh a world might be, the warmth of humanity could illuminate even the darkest, coldest corners of the universe. The northern cliffs were quiet now, the snow drifting softly over the ice. Yet beneath the calm, the planet pulsed with energy, hidden and unpredictable. Captain Elias Kane stood beside the observation window, watching the horizon. Alia sat nearby, her hands folded over her chest, eyes scanning the cliffs, alert and tense. "We've stabilized the devices for now," Dr. Jensen said. "But these energy readings, they keep shifting. Something's coming." Alia's eyes widened. She pointed to the cliffs, then to the outpost, and then waved her hands in the air, as if signaling a storm moving beneath the ice. Elias understood immediately. Their work was far from over. The planet itself was alive with danger, and the humans would need to act quickly to survive. The crew prepared the outpost for the next wave of challenges. Energy shields were strengthened. Drones equipped with sensors were sent to scout the surrounding ice, and every piece of machinery was checked and reinforced. Elias coordinated the team, his voice calm but firm, guiding them through the storm of uncertainty. "Remember," he said, "we rely on skill, intelligence, and teamwork. The planet may be harsh, but humans are stronger when we work together." As night fell, the storm came. Ice quakes shook the cliffs, sending echoes through the valley. Snow and frost whipped around the outpost, battering its walls with furious force. The crew worked tirelessly, adjusting shields and recalibrating equipment, their breath steaming in the freezing air. Alia's energy flared occasionally, sending warmth that merged with the human machines, stabilizing weak points just enough to prevent collapse. Suddenly, a loud crack echoed from the northern ridge. A massive section of ice shifted, creating a deep chasm that threatened to split the outpost in two. The team froze for a moment, hearts racing. Alia's hands flew to her chest, and her energy flared, bright and intense, as if she were trying to hold the ice together. "Elias," shouted Dr. Jensen, "if that chasm opens fully, half the outpost could be destroyed." Elias didn't hesitate. "Activate the stabilizers. Alia, focus your energy on the main ridge. Everyone else, follow my lead." The humans sprang into action. Engineers adjusted the alien devices with precision, using human problem-solving to amplify their effects. Medics ensured the crew stayed safe, while drones hovered over the shifting ice, sending live data back to the control room. Each person's skills were essential. Every decision mattered. Alia's energy surged, warming the ice, melting weak spots, and preventing sudden collapses. Elias stood beside her, directing the crew, guiding machines, and keeping calm even as the storm roared louder. In those moments, the combination of human intelligence and compassion with Alia's alien abilities created something extraordinary. They were more than a team, they were a force that could face even the most unpredictable dangers. Hours passed. The ice groaned and shifted, but under their careful work, the outpost remained intact. When the chasm finally stabilized, the crew let out a collective sigh of relief. Alia sank to the floor, exhausted, and Elias knelt beside her. "You did it," he said softly. "We did it together." Alia looked at him, her eyes full of something words could not express: trust, gratitude, and recognition. She reached out, touching his hand lightly, and for a brief moment, the cold of the world outside seemed to vanish. The storm subsided slightly, leaving the cliffs trembling but stable. Yet the crew knew this was only the beginning. The ice beneath the planet held ancient secrets, machines, networks, and energy sources that could either save or destroy. And there were still dangers they could not see. The next morning, the humans and Alia began exploring further, venturing deeper into the frozen valleys. Alia guided them, pointing out weak ice formations, hidden energy currents, and paths that would keep them safe. The humans followed, learning from her and discovering new ways to combine their technology with her energy. During the expedition, they found more of the alien devices buried beneath the snow. These machines, once activated, could stabilize larger sections of the ice, and even regulate the weather to prevent disasters. But setting them up required careful coordination. Alia's energy had to be directed precisely, while humans adjusted the devices to respond correctly. One mistake could trigger a collapse. Elias watched the crew work tirelessly. Engineers moved with skill, medics ensured everyone stayed safe, and Alia's guidance was precise. The cooperation between humans and alien knowledge created something powerful, a testament to humanity's ability to adapt, learn, and survive midday. A sudden tremor shook the ice. A massive section of the cliffs began sliding toward the outpost. Drones sent warnings immediately, and the team sprang into action. Alia focused her energy, glowing brightly as she worked with the humans to stabilize the moving ice. Elias directed the team with calm authority. Now, activate all stabilizers. Focus energy on the weak points. Move carefully but quickly. The humans and Alia worked as one. Sparks flew, machines hummed, and Alia's energy merged seamlessly with human technology. Slowly, the ice stopped its descent, settling into place. The outpost was safe, and for the first time, the crew allowed themselves a moment to breathe. Dr. Jensen approached Elias. "Captain, we've done it. These humans, your leadership, combined with Alia's abilities, it's incredible. We survived something that should have destroyed us." Elias nodded, looking at Alia, who was resting against a heated wall, her energy dim but steady. "It's not just about survival," he said. "It's about connection. We worked together, learned from each other, and trusted each other. That's why we're still here." As night fell again, the team returned to the outpost. The storm outside had lessened, leaving a calm, frozen landscape. Alia sat beside Elias in the observation room, her eyes reflecting the snow outside. She reached out and touched his hand once more, her gesture simple but full of meaning. "You see," Elias whispered, "it's more than heat. It's care, courage, and trust. That's what makes humans strong." Alia's eyes glimmered, and for the first time, she spoke a word clearly. Human. It was a recognition, a bond, a promise. The days that followed were a mix of preparation and exploration. The humans worked to strengthen the outpost, repair minor damages, and activate more alien devices. Each success was a victory, each challenge a lesson. Alia taught them about energy flows, ice stability, and ways to survive the harsh environment, while humans taught her about their technology, strategy, and adaptability. Through it all, the bond between Elias and Alia deepened. They shared quiet moments in the observation room, watching the snow and learning to communicate beyond words. Alia's gestures became more precise, her understanding of human technology grew, and she began to smile more freely, a sign of trust and friendship. But even as they celebrated their progress, the planet reminded them that it was not tamed. Ice shifted unexpectedly, energy readings spiked, and hidden crevices remained a constant threat. The humans understood that their work was not finished. They had survived the first wave, but the frozen world still had mysteries and dangers to reveal. Elias gathered the crew one evening. "We've proven we can face this world," he said. "We've survived storms, ice quakes, and challenges no one else could endure. But the planet has more secrets, and it will test us again. We must stay alert, work together, and trust each other, especially Alia. She's our guide and our friend. And together, we can overcome anything." The team nodded, their faces reflecting determination and hope. Alia looked at Elias, her eyes shining. Though she could not speak every word, her trust was clear. She had survived alone, fallen nearly lifeless in the snow. And now she had found warmth, protection, and friendship among humans. As the night deepened, the snow outside reflected the stars, sparkling like diamonds. Inside the outpost, humans and their alien companion prepared for the challenges ahead. The frozen planet held secrets still, ancient devices and hidden energies waiting to be discovered. But one thing was certain: humanity, with courage, intelligence, and compassion, would face every trial, and Alia, once a stranger in the snow, had become a symbol of what humans could achieve. Together, they had proven that survival was possible, not just through strength, but through trust. Learning, in the warmth of connection, the frozen cliffs waited silently, a test of endurance and courage. But the humans were ready. Together with Alia, they would uncover the secrets, face the dangers, and show the galaxy the best of humanity: the courage to act, the intelligence to solve problems, and the heart to care, even in the coldest, harshest places. The storm had been faced, the ice had been challenged, and the humans had prevailed not just as survivors, but as heroes of their own story. The blizzard outside had softened to a thin drizzle of snow, leaving the world beyond the outpost quiet, almost peaceful. Inside, the hum of machines and the soft chatter of humans filled the air. Alia sat in a heated chamber, wrapped in blankets, watching the humans move about with curiosity and wonder. Every gesture they made fascinated her, and every action she took seemed to intrigue them. Captain Elias Kane stood beside her, gently adjusting her blankets. "How are you feeling today?" he asked. His voice was calm, steady, filled with the same patience that had carried him through countless missions. Alia's lips moved, forming words that no human could understand. She pointed to the small map on the wall, then to her chest, and then back to the map. The scientists around her exchanged glances. "She's trying to tell us something," said Lieutenant Mara. "But what?" Dr. Jensen, the lead scientist, frowned as he tapped the holographic keyboard. "Her language isn't anything we've encountered before, but it's consistent. She's trying to communicate. I'm sure of it." Elias nodded. "We'll figure it out. Let's take it slow. She's not used to humans yet." Over the next few days, the crew worked tirelessly to decode Alia's gestures and words. They discovered that she carried knowledge memories of a city buried under ice, of machines that controlled weather, of a people who had survived extreme cold by using technology and intelligence. "She's telling us about her homeworld," Dr. Jensen said one evening. "She survived a disaster. She knows things that could help us." Alia's eyes lit up when she heard them speaking about her people. She tried to speak, her words fragmented but urgent. Elias knelt beside her, repeating her gestures and sounds carefully, trying to understand. Slowly, a picture began to form. Her planet had suffered a massive ice catastrophe, far beyond anything humans had seen. Entire cities were buried under ice, and only those who understood how to use the technology could survive. Alia had escaped the disaster by using her knowledge and energy, but she had been alone, traveling across the frozen world for days until she collapsed. The humans listened with awe. Even in the face of danger, her determination had been remarkable. Elias felt a deep respect for her. This fragile alien being had survived alone in the harshest conditions imaginable. "We need to learn from her," Elias said. "Her knowledge could save colonies here, maybe even other planets. And she needs our help." The crew agreed. They began experiments to merge human technology with Alia's energy. She could generate warmth, but her energy was unpredictable. With human guidance, they slowly stabilized it, creating small bursts of heat strong enough to melt ice and warm equipment. During this time, Elias spent long hours with Alia. They shared quiet moments, sitting together in the observation room, watching the snow drift past the glass. Alia's gestures became more expressive, and she began to respond to human words with small nods or sounds. "You're learning quickly," Elias said one day, offering her a cup of warm liquid. She hesitated at first, but then drank carefully, her hands shaking. Alia's eyes softened as she looked at him. She reached out, placing a hand on his arm. For the first time, it felt like she was not just asking for warmth, but giving trust in return. Elias felt a warmth that went beyond the physical, something human, something stronger. One morning, the sensors detected unusual vibrations in the ice near the northern cliffs. The team rushed to analyze them. Alia's eyes widened, and she pointed toward the cliffs, moving quickly, her gestures urgent. "It's like she's warning us," Lieutenant Mara said. "But what? It's just ice, or is it?" Elias watched Alia carefully. "She survived an ice catastrophe before," he said. "She knows something we don't. Listen to her." The crew followed her lead, sending drones to survey the cliffs. The images returned showing massive ice formations shifting, deep crevices opening in places, and strange glowing lines beneath the ice. The readings were unlike anything humans had recorded. "She's telling us that these shifts could be dangerous," Dr. Jensen said. "If we don't act, the outpost could be trapped or even destroyed." Alia gestured toward the outpost, then to the cliffs, then to her chest. Elias realized that she was not just warning them, she was showing them how to survive it. Her people had built devices to stabilize ice formations to prevent collapse. Alia was pointing to something similar nearby, buried beneath the snow. The team worked quickly, using drones to locate and identify the buried machines. They were ancient, alien, and delicate, but their design was brilliant. Elias and his crew carefully extracted them, setting them up with guidance from Alia's gestures and energy output. It was slow, painstaking work. Alia had to focus, controlling her energy carefully while the humans adjusted the devices. Sometimes, her energy surged strongly, sending sparks and minor tremors through the equipment. Each time, Elias and the scientists had to react immediately, showing human ingenuity and adaptability through it all. A bond grew between the humans and Alia. She learned to trust their methods, and they learned to respect her wisdom. Together, they were more than individuals, they were a team capable of facing the frozen planet's challenges. One evening, after a long day of work, Alia sat beside Elias in the observation room. The sky was dark, filled with snow clouds, but she looked calm, almost peaceful. She reached out, touching his hand lightly, and then pointed to the horizon. "She wants us to go there," Mara whispered. "But it's dangerous," Elias nodded. "We'll prepare carefully. We don't rush. We survive together." Alia's eyes glimmered. For the first time, it seemed she smiled. It was not just a human smile, it was a mix of hope, trust, and recognition. She had been alone, cold, and fearful, and now she had allies, warmth, and friendship. The next day, they followed her directions to the northern cliffs. The snow was deep, the wind sharp, but the humans moved steadily, relying on teamwork, careful planning, and Alia's guidance. She led the way, pointing to hidden paths and warning of weak ice beneath their feet. When they reached a particular ridge, Alia paused, placing her hand on the ground. Energy flowed from her, small at first, then stronger, lighting up the hidden alien devices. The ice began to stabilize, tiny cracks closing, large formations settling. The outpost was safe for now. Elias looked at her in amazement. "You saved us. Your people's knowledge, combined with human skill. We did it together." Alia's eyes met his. She whispered a single word, "warm." But this time, it was not a plea. It was a statement of trust, a bond formed between human and alien, showing that warmth could come from courage, care, and collaboration. Back at the outpost, the humans celebrated quietly. Machines hummed safely, energy readings were stable, and Alia rested peacefully. They had faced the first true challenge of the frozen planet and survived. Together, but beyond the cliffs, beneath the snow, the planet held more secrets, hidden machines, ancient energy networks, and dangers that even Alia had not fully understood. The humans would need every bit of their courage, intelligence, and compassion to face the challenges ahead. As Elias watched Alia sleep, he felt a deep sense of purpose. This was more than survival. It was an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to show the galaxy what humans could do when they faced impossible odds. And Alia, once a stranger, now a friend, had become the bridge between their worlds. The blizzard might have slowed, but the adventure was only beginning. The outpost was safe, but the frozen planet had many more lessons to teach. And with Alia by their side, humanity would face them head-on with warmth, wisdom, and unwavering courage, for in the coldest places, where survival seemed impossible, humans had one gift that no alien technology could match: the power to care, to act, and to protect. And Alia, who had collapsed in the snow with a single plea for warmth, had found it not just in blankets or machines, but in the hearts of humans. The frozen world waited, mysterious and unforgiving, but the humans were ready. Together, they would uncover its secrets, overcome its dangers, and show the galaxy what it truly meant to be human. The wind howled across the endless white plains of the ice planet, carrying sharp flakes that cut at the skin like tiny knives. The human outpost, a cluster of steel and glass modules, stood firm against the storm, a small island of warmth in a sea of cold. Inside, the crew moved quickly, checking instruments, monitoring temperature gauges, and adjusting energy shields that barely held back the fury of the blizzard outside. Captain Elias Kane stood near the observation window, his eyes scanning the frozen horizon. He had explored many worlds, but this one always felt different. The air was so cold it burned, and the endless snow stretched beyond the edge of any sensor. Something in the distance had caught his attention movement, a flicker of motion against the white. "Do you see that?" he asked the crew beside him. "See what, Captain?" replied Lieutenant Mara, her breath steaming in the cold air inside the control room. "There," Elias said, pointing. "Something moving out there, near the ridge." The team fell silent, all eyes pressing against the glass. There it was again, a figure, stumbling across the snow, collapsing, and then rising for a brief moment before falling again. It was human-shaped, but too small, too frail, to be one of their own. Elias's heart tightened. "Suit up. We're going out there." Minutes later, the rescue team trudged through the snow in armored thermal suits, each step a struggle as the wind pushed against them. Visibility was nearly zero, but Elias focused on the faint outline of the figure, now barely moving, a tiny shadow against the white. When they reached her, Elias knelt beside the figure. She was young, her skin pale, and lips blue, shivering violently. Her eyes fluttered open, wide and filled with a strange light, unlike any human he had seen. "Warm me, human," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the wind. Elias exchanged a glance with his team. "She's alive. Let's move her to the outpost," he ordered. The team carefully lifted her onto a portable sled. Every movement was careful. Even a small jolt could be fatal. As they pulled her back, the storm seemed to fight them at every step, throwing snow into their faces and freezing their fingers inside the thick gloves of their suits. Yet Elias did not falter. He was determined to save her, not just because it was his duty, but because he could not ignore the plea in her eyes. Back at the outpost, the medics worked quickly. Alia, as she would later be named, was placed under the warming lamps. Thermal blankets covered her frail body, while the medics monitored her heartbeat and oxygen levels. Machines beeped steadily, but her condition remained critical. "She's not human," whispered one of the medics, unable to hide the awe in her voice. "Look at her eyes. And her skin." Elias shook his head. "I don't care. She's alive. That's all that matters right now." Hours passed as the storm raged outside. Inside, the outpost was a hive of activity, but no one dared leave Alia's side. Slowly, color began to return to her lips. Her breathing became less labored, and her fingers twitched under the blankets. Finally, her eyes opened fully, looking round the room with curiosity and fear. The humans watched in silence. Alia tried to speak, but the words were strange, foreign, and none of the crew could understand them. She pointed to her chest, then to the outpost, her gestures urgent. Elias knelt beside her, offering calm reassurance. "It's okay," he said softly. "You're safe here." She studied him, her alien eyes searching for something she could not name. Then, slowly, she nodded, the first sign of trust in her gaze. Over the next few days, the humans worked to help her recover. They discovered that Alia had abilities unlike anything they had seen. Her body generated energy that could help warm the freezing outpost, but it needed guidance to be controlled safely. Elias and the scientists experimented carefully, using human technology to stabilize her energy. During this time, the bond between Elias and Alia grew. He would speak to her gently, explaining the world around her, while she responded with small gestures, eventually learning a few human words. Though her voice was weak, she could say warm, help, and human. Each word felt like a bridge between their worlds, fragile but growing stronger. One evening, as the storm reached its peak, Alia climbed into the observation room beside Elias. Through the frosted glass, they could see the snow swirling endlessly. She reached out, her cold hand touching the glass. And then his, "Warm me," she whispered again, but this time there was a hint of a smile, as if she understood that warmth came not just from heat, but from care, from trust, from connection. Elias smiled back, feeling the weight of responsibility and something deeper, an instinct to protect, to nurture, to connect with this being from another world. In that moment, the cold outside seemed smaller, less threatening, because humans had the power to bring warmth in even the harshest conditions. But the respite was short-lived. Sensors detected unusual energy readings outside the outpost. Something moved in the storm, massive shapes shifting beneath the snow. The crew tensed, wondering what the planet might hide. Alia's eyes widened, and she pointed toward the northern cliffs, shaking her head with urgency. Though the humans could not yet understand her fully, the warning was clear: danger was near, and they would need every ounce of human ingenuity and courage to face it. Elias turned to the crew. "Prepare the drones. Secure the outpost. We don't know what's coming, but we will face it together." That night, the storm raged on. But inside the outpost, a small fire burned. Humans and their strange guests sat together, learning from each other, sharing warmth and hope. For the first time on this frozen world, someone was truly safe, not just from the cold, but from fear. And as Alia drifted into a deep, exhausted sleep, she whispered one last phrase to Elias: "Warm me." Human, it was no longer a plea for survival, but a promise of connection that would carry them through the dangers yet to come. Outside, the wind screamed. Inside, humanity shone brightly in courage and care, in the warmth that no storm could ever destroy. The frozen world waited, silent and watchful, as humans prepared for the challenges ahead. But one thing was certain: together, they could face anything. And in that truth lay the power of humanity, the warmth that could awaken life, trust, and hope, even in the coldest places of the galaxy.